Welcome everyone to the 153rd Celebrity Synastry chart reading, where we will be looking into Tyler the Creator and A$AP Rocky. If you don't know me, hi, I'm Adeline and it is so nice to meet you. On this channel, I look at the dynamic between two celebrities using astrology. For those new and returning, I take notes on a Synastry chart looking at the personal planet signs aspects, and if birth times are available, house overlays. I share these notes and add my extra insights and interpretations along the way. So if that sounds good to you, subscribe and click the bell to join us weekly, and let's get right into this one. Starting off the sun, we have Tyler's sun in Pisces and A$AP's sun in Libra. They listen to each other. Rocky thinks Tyler is too vague. They appreciate the other's gentleness and they both avoid confrontation, which I'm not too familiar with like their music and everything, especially Tyler the Creator. No clue on any of his songs at all. But obviously, like in the sort of like, you know, rap, hip hop, like, you know, genre and everything, diss tracks will be quite popular. So I'm not sure if they ever did sort of like diss tracks against each other or maybe even against other people together. And in that way, kind of is avoiding confrontation. Like in a way, it is of confronting them, but it's not like a super direct confrontation as opposed to, you know, just making a song about it. Tyler thinks Rocky is too justice oriented. A$AP's sun overlaid in Tyler's third house. There's a comfortable atmosphere and Rocky thinks Tyler is brilliant. They enjoy talking about their days and Rocky thinks Tyler is predictable. Tyler feels smarter around Rocky and Rocky sees Tyler as someone with good common sense. Tyler's sun trine A$AP's moon. There is honest communication. I mean, from the little we have seen so far, it seems like communication wise they seem to be pretty good, you know, listening to each other, being honest and all of that. Tyler relies on Rocky's support and Rocky relies on Tyler's wisdom. This we're seeing already a couple times already, like the idea that Tyler is like very like, you know, wisdomal, very intelligent and sort of is someone that Rocky looks up to in that sort of intellectual way. It's a naturally cooperative relationship and Rocky tends to be dependent on Tyler. They both feel they can rely on each other, which with what we're seeing so far, it seems like that is quite possible. Tyler's sun trine Rocky's Pluto. It's transformative and a productive relationship. They are fascinated with each other and they both want to get to know each other deeply, which is why I imagine they are quite like, you know, open to listening to each other and like hearing each other out. Rocky inspires Tyler to dramatically transform himself, which I mean, they're kind of a similar sort of like era. Is that the right word? Like of a similar like age and generation, I would say, when it comes to things. So it could, you know, I was going to say like maybe like, you know, Tyler looks up to Rocky in that way, but you know, he still could, you know, age isn't really necessarily like stopping that. But yeah, I imagine this would be more in sort of like inspirational way rather than like a mentorship kind of thing, if that makes sense. A$AP's sun opposite Tyler's Venus. Their values conflict and they frustrate each other, which this is the first sort of little hindrance we're seeing. So I assume this frustration would more so come with like values, which I guess does make sense because we saw in the beginning that Tyler thinks Rocky is too justice oriented. Tyler grows to resent Rocky and Tyler sees Rocky as too dictatorial. Interesting. Rocky needs to learn to accept Tyler and hard work is needed to make this work. Tyler can play games with Rocky. I wonder if that has anything to do with, because we did see how Rocky thinks that Tyler is a bit more vague. Maybe in that sort of way, like in that sort of, I'm not necessarily like specifically with Tyler, but like making the connections of like playing games and being vague, sort of like that sort of car salesman sort of thing. Like you're not really making concrete promises, it's all very vague, and in that way can come off as like playing games with people. So obviously we'll see Billboard, but maybe Tyler is like that sort of person to work with, maybe just being very vague, and in that way Rocky just feels like he's just playing games with him. Rocky will either not appreciate Tyler or take him for granted. I mean, we have been seeing that he seems to appreciate Tyler's intelligence, so that's there. Rocky's sun trine Tyler's Mars. They are supportive of each other and there is healthy competitiveness. Neither feels blocked by the other, which I feel like this is really nice, like that they're able to both have space in the industry. Rocky admires Tyler's Tyler's drive and courage, and they can deal with challenges together, encourage the other's goals and visions, and Tyler expresses his desire for Rocky frequently, which this could be, I feel like, desire to sort of like collaborate with him or, have a friendship. They express themselves in a straightforward manner, and they both can rely on each other when they're demotivated. I'm liking this. Like, we had a little bit of a bump just before, but I feel like overall this seems to be quite like a solid, friendship or like, colleagueship. Like it seems like they're very good with like, working together, and it seems like in a very good sort of like, not muse way, but like very good inspiration sort of thing, bouncing ideas off of each other is like the vibe here. ASAP Sun square Tyler's Uranus. It's not predictable or stable, which I don't feel like is really surprising in like the music industry. Separation occurs and causes strain, which this could be potentially like a sort of like friendship, colleagueship, whatever relationship this is. It could be one of those where they kind of do need to be in each other's presence for not necessarily anything to get done, but they could just be the sort of people, they need to be together in present rather than like over like text or call and everything. And that sort of lack of connection could cause strain. Tyler feels trapped by Rocky over time. We did see Rocky's a bit more dictatorial, which the only thing like specifically we have really seen to indicate that is him being too justice oriented, which could kind of mean anything, honestly. The relationship can start and end suddenly. Could be if they like did collaborate each other and they just work together for whatever project they had. They cannot rely on each other in the long term, which we have been seeing they are able to rely on each other. So I wonder if maybe this is sort of more like a sort of short-term relationship. Rocky grows tired of Tyler's inconsistency, and Tyler changes and challenges Rocky's life, which is nice. We're seeing this as like a mutual thing. They're both, transforming each other. Rocky initially finds Tyler attractive and appealing, which this could be like in an intelligence way. I feel like this could also be, in terms of like maybe Tyler was like reaching his sort of like, I don't know, his peak or something, or when he was like quite successful. I'm not sure, he probably still is. I'm living under a rock when it comes to Tyler, the creator, so correct me if I'm wrong. But Rocky could have seen him as like this sort of like attractive, appealing sort of person to work with when he was like more successful, because obviously it helps Rocky out as well. ASAP Sun square Tyler's Neptune. There's misunderstandings and delusions and deception occur, which I feel like this would come from more Tyler than anything else. They both glamorize each other, and attraction is based on appearance. So I assume maybe Rocky found like Tyler's sort of like image attractive potentially to work with. Tyler promises more than gives. Again, so yeah, it seems like Tyler is a bit of like, I don't want to use the word like salesman, but like someone who plays games. Rocky believes Tyler is a soulmate. Rocky seems to really value Rocky and view him very highly in his life. Tyler eventually disappoints Rocky, not really surprisingly so, and they both need to be clear about expectations. True. Now for the intermission. This video is brought to you by me, my Etsy store, Adeline the Astrologer. If you ever watch this and think, hey, I would like her to read my Synastry chart, well, I will. I do personalized Synastry readings on my Etsy store, both basic and detailed. The basic one is very simple to understand. It's not overwhelming at all. It's pretty good for those that are beginners to astrology, just getting the head around astrology, or just as a fun gift idea. The detailed one is just like what I do on my channel, just a lot of insight and interpretation on your chart. So if you are interested in that and everything else astrology and tarot related, readings and gifts, then definitely check out my Etsy store. Links are below. I'm always releasing new things, so definitely check it out if you're interested. You can even just favorite the store just to show your support for free. Thanks for listening, and let's get back to the reading. So now it's time for moon. We have Tyler's moon in Scorpio and ASAP's moon in Cancer. These are both water signs. They have a close bond and they're sensitive about each other's feelings. Rocky takes time to understand Tyler, and Tyler may accidentally hurt Rocky. Yeah. We keep seeing this. Tyler does not seem to be the best here, especially like in comparison to like Rocky seems like quite dedicated, but Tyler seems to be kind of just like playing games, maybe unknowingly so, but still. Rocky's moon overlaid in Tyler's 12th house. There's a lack of trust, and Rocky feels that Tyler is hiding something. So yeah, I guess it really goes with like the vagueness and everything. Maybe Tyler is just genuinely a vague person, and it kind of like, nips him a bit, like, burns him with it. But like, I'm just curious, like, what it would be he's being vague about. Like, you know what I mean? Tyler senses Rocky's suspicions, and there's no logical base for lack of trust and paranoia. Does Rocky just have like a, I was gonna say weird personality, unique personality? Like being very vague because like a naturally sort of suspicious person, but like that kind of sucks for Tyler though, if he's kind of just being himself and Rocky just interprets it as him being like vague and not very trustworthy. It's difficult for them to deal with wounded feelings, which maybe is why they avoid confrontation. Tyler's moon square Rocky's Venus. Previous relationships impact this relationship. I wonder, like particularly on Tyler's end, if maybe he has collaborative people in the past, and maybe because he was, I don't know, because I'm imagining like in this sort of context, maybe Tyler is being vague when it comes to like, I don't know, his like goals when it comes to like music or whatever project they're working on together, like those sort of more intricate details, like he's hiding his moves, so to speak. And I wonder if maybe in the past he was a bit burnt because he was a bit too upfront about certain things. So I wonder if that is where, that would negatively impact this relationship, particularly on Tyler's end. There's a strong connection and they both need to learn to compromise. Tyler may not be able to provide Rocky with the emotional nourishment he wants. Yeah, I'm not really surprised. He doesn't seem to have his like cup full. Rocky may struggle with his self-worth and they both may feel misunderstood. Not surprisingly, so I feel like Tyler, with whatever vagueness thing he has going on, but also with Rocky, because I guess in a way maybe he's a bit of like the higher power. He's like a couple years older, and I don't know, to me seems to be more established in the industry. But we did see how Tyler views him as like too dictatorial, too justice oriented. So I wonder if maybe Rocky doesn't even feel that way and he feels misunderstood. They both need to resolve their internal issues for this to work, and they both tend to take each other for granted. I think we saw, was it like Rocky may potentially take him for granted if he doesn't appreciate him, so that's there. Living beyond means will create strain, so I assume this would be in terms of like maybe budgets for the project. They both like each other but not their habits. That's a nice way to summarize it, because they do seem to like each other. It just seems like, certain things really annoy them. Their values are in conflict, we're seeing again, and they both will learn how to cooperate here. I mean, hopefully so. Rocky doesn't always understand Tyler's emotions, and Tyler sees Rocky as narcissistic. Again, that's sort of like seeing Rocky as this sort of like, I don't want to say this like top dog, but like, a sort of like more narcissistic, dictatorial type person. Rocky sees Tyler as needy. Tyler's moon at Trine at Rocky's Mars. They're instinctively drawn to each other and there is mutual attraction. It's a lively relationship and Tyler nurtures and feeds Rocky's ego. That's interesting, considering it seems like Tyler may not potentially like the ego that comes with Rocky, but we'll see more hopefully. Rocky teaches Tyler how to be brave and confident, and both learn about the instincts and needs here. Definitely seems like a lot of learning to do here. Expressing feelings is spontaneous here, and arguing is not uncommon, which I feel like isn't really surprisingly so. I'm sure in that sort of like creative environment, like you're probably bouncing ideas off of each other like constantly. Tyler's moon opposite Rocky's Jupiter. The emotions can get out of control, and there are unkept promises, which seems to be more on Tyler's end. They're attracted to the other because the other has what they need. So this seems like, from what like I'm gathering, thus far, it really seems like these two kind of like came together for a project or something. Like they really saw they could both get something out of this, because I feel like we've seen this a bit more on sort of like Rocky's end, that he's like really intrigued by Tyler and everything. Their beliefs are conflicted, which is very interesting. This is specifically being repeated, like their values and beliefs, and it makes me think, because we saw like Tyler thinks of Rocky as being too justice oriented. I wonder if they have very different views on, I don't know, something to do with like justice or anything like that. Tyler may smother Rocky. There is this weird thing of Rocky being a bit like needier and, smothering. Like we've seen that a couple times, which is interesting because Tyler is also like being very like vague and elusive. They both think the other is a bad influence. ASAP's Moon are Trine Tyler's Mercury. They're comfortable talking to each other about everything and it's a harmonious relationship. There are these bits where it's like they do seem to be like very good friends, it seems like I imagine if they were just friends, like things would have been all good with them. But destiny has its way of working, doesn't it? It just seems like as colleagues there is a bit of a clash. Tyler enjoys being emotionally nourished by Rocky, and Tyler provides a foundation for Rocky's feelings. Rocky is comfortable expressing his feelings with Tyler, which I feel like kind of adds up with what we've seen. Like they both seem to be quite comfortable with talking to each other and everything, expressing their thoughts and whatever. But obviously, like we did see, Tyler has a hard time providing the emotional nourishment, so it kind of makes sense he's able to like take a bit more. ASAP's Moon is square Tyler's Venus. This is a repeated aspect, so just inverted. So everything from before is further emphasized, but also Rocky may not be able to provide Tyler with the emotional nourishment he wants. Just as I said that. I mean, Tyler can still enjoy being emotionally nourished. Doesn't mean he's going to necessarily get it consistently, Tyler may struggle with his self-worth, and Rocky sees Tyler as narcissistic. Tyler sees Rocky as needy, and Tyler doesn't always understand Rocky's emotions. ASAP's Moon are opposite Tyler's Neptune. They negatively influence each other, which goes back to how we saw how they both think the other's a bad influence. Rocky clings to Tyler. They both seem to have weird clingy tendencies. Tyler doesn't fit with Rocky's vision of him. That is interesting. Like, I wonder if it is a sort of situation of maybe Rocky saw Tyler maybe he was a bit more upcoming, like in the industry, and Rocky kind of wanted to take him under his wing, maybe mold him a bit more because, I don't know, he saw potential. Like, I don't know how else to, like, interpret that. They misunderstand each other's signals, and Rocky makes Tyler feel safe. They both feel guilt when they are separated. There is a weird thing when they are separated, because we saw how separation occurs and causes strain. So obviously, I guess that would be from, like, the guilt they get. It's difficult to define boundaries. I feel like this will be mostly due to Tyler. Like, I'm just imagining, because, like, he seems to be very, like, vague and elusive and not really wanting anything to be like super concrete. So I wonder if maybe there's an issue of, I don't know, like contracts or something, or just genuinely with Tyler just not really giving it. They may lose themselves in each other, which, I feel like can happen when you're making music together, get a bit too into it. ASAP's Moon Trine Tyler's Pluto. There's an intense meeting. We haven't really seen anything when it comes to meetings, but could be. They both will need to let go of fake personas, and they both bring truth and change in social and political areas together. I wonder where this would be, because for the most part, we've only really seen their conflict when it comes to like their values and beliefs. There's a strong bond, and they're involved in organizations together, which this could be, some sort of more humanitarian thing. Hard to believe where that would be with like the conflict, but this could also be like their record label. They can solve problems in their community, and they can go through difficulties together. They can both transform each other, which we have been seeing. So now it's time for Mercury. We have Tyler's Mercury in Pisces and Rocky's Mercury in Libra. There's conflict between Rocky's detachment and Tyler's attachment. There is a weird thing, like they both seem like fairly attached and detached at the same time. So I hope we'll see a bit more, maybe it's different areas they have this, and it brings out different sort of things in them. Tyler can be impatient with Rocky's excessive analysis, and neither are self-centered. ASAP's Mercury overlaid in Tyler's third house. Rocky is more chatty around Tyler, which we have been seeing, like they both seem to be quite good communication-wise. Rocky enjoys long conversations with Tyler, and Tyler will enjoy conversations with Rocky, yeah, we've seen. And there are no aspects for Mercury, so it is now time for Venus. We have Tyler's Venus in Aries and Rocky's Venus in Leo. These are both fire signs. It's a spirited and fire relationship, which we did see was a lively relationship, which I feel like, makes sense with a lot of the industry there, and I'm sure there's a lot of movement. They both fall in love quickly, which obviously could be something they like relate to. Potentially they could have made music about this sort of like theme. It's competitive, and Rocky takes this more seriously than Tyler. It seems like he does. Like, I feel like Tyler's not giving me the impression that he takes things seriously. He seems vague. He could be. It's just he's not very upfront with it. That's not the sort of like he's putting forward, you know. They admire each other and they both tend to be self-centered. Interesting, because we saw neither are self-centered. I mean, it could be in different ways. They have lots of fun together, and Rocky doesn't get the attention he wants from Tyler. So I guess in that sort of way, Rocky is needy for that attention. Rocky finds Tyler both charming and intriguing, which we have seen that, you know, yeah, we've seen this already before, particularly the intriguing thing. Tyler finds Rocky both exciting and infuriating. I assume the infuriating bit will come from like the sort of more dictatorial qualities he seems to have, or Tyler seems to think he has. Rocky's Venus overlaid in Tyler's first house. Rocky is attracted to Tyler, we're seeing again. So he seems to like view a lot of potential in Tyler. It seems like there does seem to be a thing of like taking Tyler like under his like wing, or wanting to like, you know, seeing a lot of potential in Tyler in whatever way that manifests, I guess. Rocky enjoys being seen with Tyler, and Tyler over time may not appreciate the shallow admiration, which is interesting because it seems like, you know, Rocky potentially values that sort of shallow admiration and attention, and I guess I don't want to say he's projecting it onto Tyler, but potentially, you know, I mean, you want that, so why wouldn't someone else want it, you know? Rocky doesn't pay attention to the regular Tyler. There is a weird thing of wanting, I think we did see this before, how like he wants to change Tyler or something like that. Tyler is flattered by Rocky. So there are no aspects again for Venus. So now it is time for Mars. So we have Tyler's Mars in Gemini and Rocky's Mars in Aries. They are both impulsive and live in the moment, which I pretty good for the industry they're in, isn't it? Rocky is easily irritated with Tyler. Rocky's Mars overlaid in Tyler's 8th house. It is love-hate. I definitely see that. Tyler feels possessive of Rocky. Interesting. And it is transformative. They will never get over each other, and Rocky feels drawn to Tyler. We're seeing again. Tyler feels like a damsel in distress around Rocky, which I kind of works for Rocky, doesn't it? Because he seems to want to be, I don't want to say knight in shining armor, but kind of wants to sort of like take Tyler and like, you know, transform him and everything. Tyler feels mesmerized by Rocky, which I think we did see an element of Tyler potentially looking up to Rocky before, which adds up. There's a possibility of a taboo in the relationship. I don't know what it would be. I don't know, maybe different like, you know, backgrounds or something like that. I'm not really sure where this could be. Like, if it is sort of like an East versus West sort of thing, but I'm pretty sure they're both West. I don't know, that could be a very wrong opinion, but you know, that's where my brain's going. Maybe some sort of East versus West sort of thing. Otherwise, I'm not sure what else the taboo could be. ASAP's Mars, Trine Tyler's Jupiter. They feel they can do anything together, and there is healthy competitiveness, which we've been seeing throughout the reading, I'm pretty sure. Tyler is okay with Rocky asserting himself. He kind of needs to make up his mind because he's just so vague. Like, I don't really know what to make of him because he seems to be very, like, I don't want to say multi-dimensional, but like, it kind of, like, this very... I'm seeing, like, the thing I'm seeing is, like, everyone sees him differently. That's the sort of, like, picture in my head. Like, he's like a sort of chameleon's the word I'm looking for. They have fun together and they enjoy trying new things together. They have a shared interest in sports and travel, which travel, I mean, would really help if they like do any like tours or gigs together. Tyler helps Rocky get out of his comfort zone and Rocky feels more energized around Tyler. It's possibly a reckless relationship, which we haven't seen. They both feel they are a bad influence on the other and they're a lucky couple. So that was the final aspect, bringing us to the end of the reading. If you are still watching, please share your thoughts below. I'd be very curious to see what you guys have to say about this one, particularly if you are fans of these two. The dynamic is just very interesting. You know, good friendship, questionable colleagueship. And if you have made it this far, please consider subscribing for more. I post these readings twice a week. And besides that, give this video a like and I will see you guys next time. Bye! And a shout out to my astrology enthusiasts, Monkey Girl and Sky Games Vlog Hawker. Thank you for supporting the channel. If you would also like a shout out and get early access to new videos, click the join button below to join the memberships. There are 2 tiers, the observers and enthusiasts. So thank you again, Monkey Girl and Sky Games Vlog Hawker, for supporting the channel.